We are standing on the edge of an absolute cinematic earthquake. Let's just dive right into this because there is zero time to waste. I want to pull you directly into the high-stakes electric atmosphere of July 25th, right inside Hall H at the San Diego Comic-Con. We are literally days away from the first official look at Avengers Doomsday. And let me tell you, the sheer scale of what's about to be revealed, it's going to completely shift the foundation of the cinematic universe we've been following for years. I'm going to break down exactly what is coming our way piece by piece, starting with this massive monumental event.
Now, what's really fascinating here is what this specific panel represents. Over at CinemaCon, a very lucky, select few got to see a heavily guarded, incredibly brief cut of the Doomsday trailer. But what we're getting on July 25th, it is not just some rerun. We are talking about a significantly expanded trailer featuring entirely new, unseen footage that really blows the scope of this multiversal threat wide open. And alongside that footage, we're going to get a brand new, official, high-resolution poster. I don't mean just a piece of concept art. This is going to be the definitive visual anchor used to market the absolute end of this current cinematic era. It's going to set this incredibly dark, massive tone, prepping us for the literal end of reality.
Section 1. Spider-Man in Space.
Okay, to truly understand the sheer terror of what Doomsday is bringing to the table, we actually have to take a sudden detour to a very different, much more grounded movie. Let's walk through this carefully, because this is wild. The street-level, gritty story of Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to end with this crazy mid-credits absence, and that leads straight into a post-credit scene where Peter Parker is found completely alone, floating helplessly in the terrifying dead silence of deep space. Now you might be thinking, what? But this space sequence isn't just some random, confusing cliffhanger, it's actually a direct, hyper-calculated tether to the catastrophic ending of Avengers Doomsday. Think about it. When these universes begin to violently collide and the multiversal collapse actually starts, reality as we know it is going to shatter. Peter, floating out there in the dark, is our ground-level perspective of that collapse. He isn't out for a joyride spacewalk. He has likely just watched reality completely disintegrate around him.
So that brings up a pretty massive question. How exactly does a kid from Queens, a friendly neighborhood guy, survive the freezing vacuum of space while existence itself is collapsing? Well, there's a very specific connection I want to point out here. Destin Daniel Cretton is directing Brand New Day, right? He previously directed Shang-Chi, and what exactly did he do in the post-credits of Shang-Chi? He brought in Captain Marvel. It was a bridge to the cosmos. So given that Peter is suddenly drowning in a cosmic crisis, it makes absolute narrative sense that Captain Marvel, or maybe even a heavyweight like Adam Warlock, will be the one to intercept him. What we are looking at is a massive cosmic rescue mission, pulling Spidey right out of the void and dropping him directly into the Doomsday conflict.
Section 2. The incursion theory.
But honestly, I want to pivot to a totally different, terrifying alternate perspective for a second, one that's deeply rooted in the comic books. What if Peter Parker isn't actually leaving Earth at all? What if, instead, space, the cosmos, and entirely other dimensions are violently crashing down onto him? Let's just paint this picture for a second. Imagine you're Peter, standing on a rooftop in New York, standard patrol. Suddenly, the blue sky just begins to tear open, ripping apart. And instead of clouds, a second, massive, fully formed Earth suddenly fills the horizon, taking up the entire sky. The gravity shifts. The whole world is thrown into absolute paralyzing panic. This is an incursion. The space around him isn't some vacuum he traveled to. It's the chaotic, broken void left behind when two universes try to occupy the exact same physical space. If this is the visual we get in those post-credits, it is without a doubt the most haunting, apocalyptic thing we will have ever seen on screen.
Section 3. The quantum realm survival.
But what if the answer to surviving all this isn't up in the sky at all? What if the key to surviving the end of literally everything is microscopic? I want to introduce you to perhaps the most complex, fascinating multiversal theory we've got. We are moving from the infinite expanse of deep space straight down into the incomprehensibly small reality of the quantum realm. Think of it as a desperate lifeboat to survive Doctor Doom's incoming patchwork universe, Battleworld. Let's just walk through the mechanics of this intricate plot. When Doctor Doom inevitably shatters the multiverse and stitches the broken pieces into his own controlled Battleworld, anyone left on the outside is just erased, gone. But Cassie Lang and a specialized team of young Avengers figure out a backdoor loophole. They dive deep into the quantum realm to completely bypass Doom's reality wipe, because it exists outside of normal time and space. From that microscopic sanctuary, they can physically emerge right into Battleworld. And once they're there, our beloved heroes have been completely mind-wiped, living fake lives under Doom's spell. The Young Avengers' mission is to drag these heroes out of Doom's control, break that psychological conditioning, and rally an army just in time for Secret Wars to actually begin. It's basically a multiversal heist.
I just want us to pause for a second and let that concept really sink in. The absolute whiplash of it all. We are going to sit down and watch Peter Parker spend a 2-hour movie dealing with gritty, grounded, street-level threats. We're talking mobsters, brutal back-alley fights, the desperate, everyday struggle of a broke kid in New York just trying to make rent. And then, in the literal final seconds of the film, he is violently thrust into the dead center of a cosmic multiverse war where reality itself is bleeding out. The total juxtaposition of those two extremes, from fighting in an alley to surviving the death of the universe, is going to be absolutely legendary to witness.
Section 4. The next chapter, Spider-Man 5.
And all of that brilliantly illustrates why the Spider-Man panel at Hall H is so deeply, deeply suspicious. Officially, on paper, they are hosting a dedicated panel for Spider-Man Brand New Day, featuring a nice little Q&A with the cast. But let's look at the reality of the timeline here, because it doesn't add up. Brand New Day is releasing just days after this convention. The cast cannot possibly spoil the movie right before it comes out. Plus, a dedicated Hall H panel is incredibly expensive, prime pop culture real estate. You don't waste that on a basic press tour wrap-up. I am going to argue with absolute certainty that there is only one logical reason they have carved out this massive spotlight right now. They are getting ready to drop the bombshell announcement of Spider-Man 5. We are finally going to find out exactly what Peter's future looks like on the other side of Secret Wars.
Section 5. The Universe Reset. A New Iron Man.
Speaking of the other side of Secret Wars, I really need to prepare you for a massive universe reset. We are looking at a colossal, foundational, behind-the-scenes shift that completely changes the future of the armored heroes. Everything we thought we knew about the fallout of Tony Stark's legacy, it's being completely rewritten. For years, we watched the tragic, agonizingly slow death of Don Cheadle's Armor Wars project. First, it was supposed to be a highly anticipated Disney Plus series. Then they announced it was being reworked into a feature film. And then, nothing. It just sat in development hell, gathering dust. Well, now we have the confirmation. Armor Wars is completely canceled. But out of those ashes comes an explosive rebirth. It's being transformed into a full-fledged Iron Man movie, specifically slated to be a foundational cornerstone of the upcoming mutant saga.
So let me deliver the hard truth about what this actually means practically. The Mutant Saga takes place in a post-Secret Wars, entirely rebooted universe. The slate is wiped totally clean. This means we are going to be introduced to a brand new, fully recast Tony Stark, and right alongside him, a brand new James Rhodes. The iconic characters are going to remain, but the specific faces, the actors we have grown to love for well over a decade, are gone. It's a completely fresh start. I want to just pause here for a moment because this is incredibly heavy stuff for fans. Are we truly emotionally prepared to see someone else wear that iconic armor? Robert Downey Jr. didn't just play a character, he laid the very bedrock, the absolute foundation of this entire cinematic universe. Moving on from him to a new, younger actor is going to be one of the most difficult, most controversial, yet totally necessary transitions in modern cinema history. It's an incredibly bitter pill to swallow, but guys, this is the reality of a rebooted multiverse. The wheel keeps turning.
Section 6. A Sensory Evolution. Now, let's bring these massive, cosmic, reality-resetting stakes back down to a highly personal, sensory level for a minute. I want to tell you about a brand new, physical mutation that Peter Parker is going to undergo right in front of our eyes in Brand New Day. We are going to witness the physical evolution of the iconic Spidey sense. For years, on screen, it's just been portrayed as an internal feeling, right? Maybe the hairs on his arm standing up or a slow-motion dodge. But due to a profound mutation he experiences in this film, we will now see a distinct visual energy aura. You will literally see a pulsating field of kinetic energy vibrating around Peter's head on screen every single time danger approaches. It's going to translate his internal instinct into a stunning, undeniable visual spectacle.
And this is what brilliantly illustrates the genius of director Destin Daniel Cretton. He is elevating this physical evolution even further. Because it's not just visual, it's auditory. We are getting a unique, isolated, deeply cinematic audio cue every single time that sense activates. The sound design is being built to completely immerse us inside Peter's heightened state of panic and hyper-awareness. We won't just see his anxiety, we are going to feel it vibrating through the speakers in the theater. It is going to make the character feel cooler, more dangerous, and way more evolved than we have ever seen him.
So the absolutely crucial point is this. We are standing right at the threshold of a totally new era.
From diving into the microscopic depths of the quantum realm just to survive the violent collapse of reality, to the intense emotional weight of looking a brand new, rebooted Iron Man in the face, the landscape of this cinematic universe is changing forever. Everything we know is being rewritten. I have to ask you, after everything we've just broken down today, all the massive leaks, the physical mutations, the sheer cosmic terror of an incursion, are you truly ready for this new universe? Because honestly, whether we're ready or not, the incursion is already here.